This week on The Verdict, we are looking at war films. Welcome to The Verdict. I'm Devontae Banks.
I'm Aedon Crouse.
And I'm Logan Ferrell.
So this week we are going to be talking about a film that not only has a controversial director, has possibly the worst Spider-Man, and is a film that's so gory it will make the special effects scene for The Walking Dead blush. So does all this mishmash of elements work? Well, we'll let you know right after the trailer.
What the hell is your delay, Captain?
We're waiting, sir.
Waiting for what?
Private Doss.
Who the hell is Private Doss?
I always dreamed about being a doctor, but didn't get much school. I can't stay here while all them go fight for me.
But you figure this war is just going to fit in with your ideas?
While everybody else is taking life, I'm gonna be saving it. And that's gonna be my way to serve.
This is a personal gift from the United States government designed to bring death to the enemy.
Well, I'm sorry, Sergeant. I can't touch a gun.
You don't kill.
No, sir.
You know, quite a bit of killing does occur in war.
Private Doss does not believe in violence. Do not look to him to save you on the battlefield.
I don't think this is a question of religion. I think this is cowardice.
I fell in love with you because you weren't like anyone else. You're saying you could go to prison.
But I don't know how I'm gonna live with myself if I don't stay true to what I believe. With the world so set on tearing itself apart, doesn't seem like such a bad thing to me to want to put a little bit of it back together.
Private Doss, you are free to run into the hellfire of battle without a single weapon to protect yourself.
I'm gonna get you home.
There's something you gotta see.
Who did this?
That's the coward.
We have to go back up tomorrow. And they're not gonna go up there without you. Help me.
You don't have to trust me.
You better come home to me.
Please, Lord, help me get one more. Help me get one more.
Okay, so the first thing I want to say about this is the first thing I say after I see any Mel Gibson film, which is a wow. So I don't know if that's a good wow or a bad wow. I'll let you guys start. I'll tell you mine.
I went into it not watching. I didn't watch the trailer. I didn't know anything about this movie, and I didn't know what to. I have like such mixed feelings on it. I don't know about you guys, but like just the love story kind of threw me off in the beginning. How like sweet and like wonderful it was, and then all of a sudden we're like in war. And we're scared, and we don't know what to expect. But overall, I thought it was a good movie. I don't know about you guys.
I really enjoyed it too. I was kind of the same way. I had a little bit of a little bit of a summary before the conscientious objector. I had to say that again. I had that going for it, and but yeah, like once it got to and I was actually enjoying the beginning a whole lot. You said it best with the Hallmark thing.
Yes.
The beginning is very, very peaceful, very peaceful. But then, like once it gets into the warfare, that's when it starts getting like, okay, this is heavy. Like this is where things are starting to get serious. Especially, of course, the first Hacksaw Ridge scene. That's where things start really getting intense. and we'll try our best not to go into far detail.
Oh no, we can
scene,
spoil it. You know what? It was an actual war, so we're not.
Yeah,
you should have read about
true.
this in school. Like,
Yeah.
But like, all right. So here's the thing about Mel Gibson, right? Where it's just he is. First off, he was one of the weirdest choices to direct this movie because you have a guy who's making a movie about the first conscientious objector who clearly loves violence a lot. It was like when I watched Passion of the Christ, I was like, wow, this is a great movie. And then Jesus gets beat for 40 minutes. I was like, I don't know if that's necessary. I mean, I feel like Braveheart was like his best as far as like the tone all being consistent. I would say this movie is wildly inconsistent, but I like it. It just feels like it's 3 different parts of a movie.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like, we're going to talk about Dunkirk later. It's a minor spoiler for how I feel about Dunkirk, where it's like, later I'm going to basically talk about how I didn't like how Dunkirk was like not super like streamlined, but this movie I feel like could have done the opposite. This movie I feel like doesn't work as well being as streamlined as it is. Like I feel like they could have cut in between these things because you're going from the super cute Hallmark card movie, then to this guy standing up for his religion in boot camp, and then to like one of the most brutal war films ever.
Yeah.
And I like the way he directed all 3 of them. It's just like you directed 3 different movies. Like that was just the weirdest part because it's
I
like
never thought about it that way because it really was. You go Hallmark and then standing up for yourself and then war, and I just. It was just really interesting how they did that, and the standing up for his religion and everything. Like, can we talk about Vince Vaughn and how he
was great.
It was. I don't know. I have mixed emotions on him because I see him in very like comedic films, and so when I saw him, I was like, is he for real in this movie? Like, is this serious? And I was the same way with Andrew Garfield because I was not expecting Spider-Man to be. One of the Spider-Mans to be in this film.
I mean, he kicks a grenade, so I think.
So he brought out his spidey senses and,
Well, like the weird thing about Vince Vaughn is like, he's a great actor who does terrible movies. Like when he did the Psycho remake, it was just like this big, tall, just giant, just crying about mother, blah, blah, blah. I was like, that doesn't work. But this type of character, him playing a jerk, it works. Like just because like it fits more with his personality.
He's a very comedic jerk in a way. Like a couple times I wanted to kind of like laugh. And
he has the funniest line in the movie whenever Andrew Garfield picks up the gun to like drag him in. At first he doesn't know. He's like, a little bit wait for target practice, champ. I love that line.
I feel like he actually did fit very good into the drill sergeant role because of that. Like he had that serious tone of the war movie, but because it's comedic background, he could like kind of poke fun of these soldiers and stuff like that. Like he makes fun of the one guy for not being dressed right away, or what does he make? He makes fun of the one guy because he's got like the one guy's got like something stuck in his foot.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. That was crazy.
He's just standing there and he's just like, what's the matter? Or I forget what he says exactly, and he's like, I got something in my foot, drill sergeant. Like he looks down.
And he's just like, lift your foot. And he's like, okay, here you go. And he just pulls it out.
Something else that I think is like Mel Gibson, say what you want about his movies, no one does a climax scene better than him. Just like the Braveheart scene was great. The Jesus scene was long. The being scene with the crucifixion was long, but it's still a great scene. But the Just One More scene in this movie is an amazing scene where he just keeps going back to save one more. Like the way the music and everything builds. Like I truly feel like he still was the wrong choice to direct this movie because he likes violence way too much. Like he has way too much crazy, and I love violence in movies, but he has way too much craziness for the sort of a conscientious objector. But the Just One More scene I thought was perfect. I feel like that's the reason why he did this movie, was to make that.
It really, came full circle to the whole, like, I have this religion and this is what I believe in. And he kept praying, like, okay, let me save one more. Let me save one more. Like, let me go back to one more. Like, that. I really like that scene. That was probably one of my favorite parts of the whole movie was his desire, because his whole purpose to going into this war was to save lives. He wanted to save lives. He didn't want to kill anybody. He wanted to save people. I really like that scene.
And I just really like the movie. I wish it was just more consistent because I still think he's great. It has great scenes. I don't know if it's a great movie. It's a good movie. It has so many great scenes, though. I wish that was more of the through line of the movie. Like, I feel like if it was Clint Eastwood, or even Zemeckis, because before the show we were talking about how he did Forrest Gump. If Zemeckis did this movie, I think it would, like, that would be more of a through line. Like, it was like you would have scenes of that, but there would just be so many scenes of just other stuff where it's like, oh, well, okay, how interested are you, Mel Gibson, in this story?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that was the only thing that kind of took me out of it. Because, I mean, I love movies about people's faith being challenged and stuff, but you need someone who's going to zero in on it. Like, did you guys see a movie Silence by Martin Scorsese?
I haven't.
No.
Funny enough, also with Andrew Garfield about men wrestling with Christianity. But the whole movie's about it. And it's weaved through the whole thing. So I feel like this movie, if it had a tighter edit and just wasn't as crazy, could have been something even better.
It could have been really well, yeah.
And am I on? All right, so this next film is the Steven Spielberg classic Saving Private Ryan. It stars Tom Hanks and takes place 3 days after the D-Day invasion. Captain John Miller, which is Tom Hanks, is sent on a mission to retrieve Private James Ryan, the last surviving of 4 brothers to a grieving mother. Ooh,
you see, when you end up killing one of your men, you tell yourself it happened so you could save the lives of 2 or 3 or 10 others, maybe 100 others.
All right, I'm on. Okay. So, Saving Private Ryan is a movie based on respects, the rights and wrongs of respects. But one question still lingers towards the end. Should they have killed the surrendered German when they had the chance?
All right, so this goes to one of my problems with this movie. And by the way, I know you guys are gonna call me a hipster because I'm criticizing Steven Spielberg for blah, but no, he deserves it because okay, in the Spielberg universe, no, but like. It's war, like, okay, like I get it, it's Spielberg. There's certain places he's not gonna go, like when he did The Color Purple, he cut out all the lesbian stuff because he was like, oh, I don't wanna do that. But if you're doing a World War II movie, I mean, I think this is probably the most morally great he's gotten other than Munich. But I mean, one of my problems with this movie is it's not morally great enough. And it's just so emotionally manipulative. But it works. Like, I still cry like a little girl.
Oh
like,
my
it still works.
One thing I kind of wanted to bring out was this movie's got a lot of violence in it. I mean, not as much as Hacksaw Ridge did, but there is a lot of violence that plays into this movie. But the one scene that hit me the most is the dog tag scene. The scene when they're kind of going through the dog tags. They're like, you know, hey, this guy's from New York. I got a bunch of people from here and here. But as they're doing that, you know, you got the, I think it's the 101st, are walking, and it's just kind of emotional how it hits from them and hits back to the 101st. So you kind of see like their reaction. They're just like, hey, I knew some of those people, and then you kind of see this distraught reaction in their face.
And one of those guys like comes over and is like, hey, like, guys, like, be more serious, because they were kind of laughing and kind of like, oh, here's this guy, and this whole, you know, slew of people are walking by, and it's like, guys, like, chill out, like, this is serious. So.
Yeah, no, he's great at making, like, I would say this is a great movie, but I mean, just like the conversation we had with the other one, I don't like what Steven Spielberg really did with it. Like, I don't know, it's the same problem, like I said, I kind of have with The Color Purple a bit, where it's like, they even asked Quincy Jones back in the day, it was like, how you feel about him cutting this out, The Color Purple? I was like, well, you got Steven Spielberg to direct it. It's getting Steven Spielberg to direct a World War II movie, so it's like, okay, I know there's some places he's not willing to go. Like, the only part that I feel like I would be more lenient if he never made Schindler's List. Because Schindler's List showed me that it was like, you can do this and just have a movie that just kind of is what it is. It still has its Spielbergisms, but it's not as much. But this movie just has so many of them. Like, everything Matt Damon says in the movie is great, and it's amazing dialogue, and it's just wonderful and colorful, and it just makes you feel all these emotions. But I'm like, with the type of story you're telling, does that really make sense?
Yeah, I actually got kind of confused when I was watching it at first. Or this was my second time seeing Saving Private Ryan. But when I was watching it, like towards the end, the graveyard scene, or I guess cemetery scene, it's a better word, I actually got the endings of Schindler's List and this movie mixed up because I was like, wait, isn't there a part where they're, putting flowers on his grave? And I was like, oh wait, that's the Schindler's List. And I was like, this is a different movie. But yeah, like
it worked so much better in Schindler's List because of the movie that came before that scene.
Yeah, like those two scenes were very similar to each other. So much where like I thought it was the same movie almost. But I mean, still great scenes in the end. But yeah.
I will say that I disagree when you said that Hacksaw Ridge was more gory and because I decided to eat dinner while watching this movie, and that wasn't the best idea because the beginning, I even read that some like veterans had to actually leave the theater when watching this because it was just so, I mean, I could even like see someone like thinking back to like being in that war because it was just so intense. And I even had to like skip ahead, like, you skip ahead 10 seconds. I had to do that a couple of times. I was like, oh my gosh. Like, but overall, I got confused with the beginning. I thought that the scene in the beginning where the older guy is going to the cemetery, towards the end, I thought that it was gonna be Tom Hanks's character was the old man. I didn't realize that it was gonna be Ryan at the end. Like because of how everything was going on, I was like, oh my gosh, he's gonna be so upset because he lost all these men to save one guy, and then he didn't even save this guy. But that's not what happened at all. And so I think that really threw me into an emotional roller coaster. And so, but overall, I really enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, back to like the D-Day invasion or the D-Day invasion scene. One thing I noticed that was really interesting was that you see Captain Miller or Tom Hanks' character, like he's going through the whole thing, saving countless people, and every person he saves gets shot like right away.
Oh yeah.
As well as like some other people too. Like there's a guy, with the helmet thing, and it's just like everybody that gets saved at that time gets shot, and that kind of happens as it goes through the movie. And then Ryan is like the one person that he actually does save towards the end. That and maybe
I think there were two other guys maybe.
Yeah,
that
maybe
survived.
A few.
But yeah, the ending really, I just started crying at the end. I was just like, oh my gosh. It does. It hits you really hard. And I think that movie really, not that I didn't respect, our soldiers, but I think it gave me like a higher up, like, oh my gosh, like this is serious. Like this is seriously what people have gone through and what they, might still go through. And it gave me like a newer and like better respect, if that makes sense.
I would say like the D-Day scene made me feel that, but like, I don't know. I keep bringing up Clint Eastwood, even though none of his movies are. But I don't know. But I feel like, for example, like as far as like someone who gets into veterans better is him, because I feel like he does actual more realistic and less some kind of B characters. Like Steven Spielberg's characters in Saving Private Ryan, I truly feel are there to just kind of be these patriotic like symbols. So even like when somebody's dying, like they're crying out for them. Like it's all very specific and it's all there to emotionally manipulate you for a reason. And I don't know, I just feel like if you're doing a war film, like I like the Eastwood thing of no, sometimes it is what it is. Like I remember before the show we were talking about American Sniper. That's one of the reasons I feel like that movie works. I like that movie more than this one because it kind of lets you sit with certain things. Right. Like certain things just aren't okay. And it's a complaint I've heard about Steven Spielberg is between this and Schindler's List. There were countless atrocities in World War II and the Holocaust. And he makes two movies about people who got away or survived. Which kind of I kind of get he wants to have that catharsis at the end, but I thought as far as movies that need a catharsis, I don't think this movie really needed one.
No.
Like I don't really think anybody needed to get away at the end.
Yeah, I agree. I also want to point out the cast, because there were so many people in this cast where I was like, oh my gosh, that guy played in Friends, and there were two guys that were in Friends, and then there's
Vin Diesel,
which was like, I was like, it was kind of like the Vince Vaughn thing, like, is that Vin Diesel? But overall, I really did like the movie. But now we're gonna talk about Dunkirk, which was directed and written by Christopher Nolan, and it takes place during World War II. When Germany advanced into France, trapping Allied troops on the beaches of Dunkirk. The movie portrays this evacuation from 3 perspectives: land, air, and sea. Using the cover from air and ground, troops were slowly and strategically evacuated from the beach using every naval and civilian vessel. At the end of this heroic mission, 330,000 French, British, Belgian, and Dutch soldiers were safely evacuated.
The enemy tanks have stopped.
Why?
Why waste precious tanks when they can pick us off from the air like fish in a barrel?
There are 400,000 men on this beach.
He's coming back round. He's coming back round!
Where are we going?
Dunkirk.
I'm not going back.
There's no hiding from this sun. We have a job to do.
If we go there, we'll die. You can practically see it from here.
What?
Home.
I'm a little scared to ask, but what were your guys' thoughts on Dunkirk?
I'm gonna try my best to be positive on it.
I love the way this is started.
Okay, yeah. So it had the right source. I did do a little bit of research into it after watching it because I wanted to see, like, you know, what all this is real, what all this is genuine.
Except for no Indian dudes. They didn't cast any Indian dudes.
But yeah, I like the source a whole lot. I did like the part with I forget the.
Are you about to say Harry Styles?
Yeah, I don't know anybody's
We'll talk
name.
about him later.
I don't know anybody's name from this movie, but the yacht guy. I'm gonna just call him the yacht family.
Oh,
yes.
Mark Rylance. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, I really did enjoy that part because you know that was a pretty good
That was a good story.
Yeah, I almost feel like they should have done. They should have had like 2 plot points, and it was either do that or do a story revolving around the soldiers. The airship stuff, I honestly didn't think was even needed in the movie.
Yeah.
As weird as it sounds, I feel like you could have done like a Saving Private Ryan thing where the airship just kind of comes in, you don't have to see the pilot.
Right.
And you know, it just kind of felt like one of those things where it was like Tom Hardy was the main guy. They wanted to like get him in for the view, so they had him as the airplane guy. But yeah, I did enjoy the source material. I like the source material a whole lot. I just feel like it could have been a little bit better used.
I personally liked the 3 different stories that you had, because you have the 3 different sources of how are they going to get out of here, and I think that was really important to kind of portray that there were, you know, these different actions taking place. So,
I mean, normally I would say yes, but like, I don't know, I feel like the way he did it was more of a gimmick. I mean, like, Christopher Nolan and Tarantino loves this movie. Like, it was just surprising because they're both like these 90s guys. They both are the coolest. But like, I don't know, part of the problem with the movie I have is that it's too cool. I don't know if that's part of the reason you don't like. No, for real, it's like, there were certain things where it's like, he was like, we put an IMAX camera in the plane and we crashed the plane into it and they show it. It's beautiful. I saw it in the theater on 70 millimeter, like down at Opera Mills. It was amazing. The scenes are sweeping in the wide shots. A lot of the men you see are just literally cardboard cutouts.
Oh, wow.
And like they use it to fake it. The scenes of them running are just great and they're beautiful. The music's great. But it's also like, Christopher Nolan is such a great director. His worst movie is better than your favorite director's best movie. But it's the same problem I had with Hacksaw Ridge. I don't know if he's the guy who needed to make Dunkirk. Like, it's like, I don't know if you need to put the coolest filmmaking techniques in the world and nonlinear storytelling with this story. Like, I feel like this should have been a straight war movie.
I don't know. I just kind of disagree with you because it's as soon as the movie started, I was like, I asked the person that was with me, I was like, who directed this? And they said Christopher Nolan. And I was like, oh yeah, I see that. Because it's so quiet and you don't learn anybody's name. I think that's like one of the things that kind of drives me crazy because you want to connect to these characters, but it's hard when you don't know their names. And I have to bring it up because we brought it up a second ago. In the theater, I don't know about you guys, but when Harry Styles popped up on the screen, there was a slight gasp throughout the theater.
He's here.
And I think, I just learned this recently. Christopher Nolan had no idea who Harry Styles was. And I think that's really cool that he didn't get into the movie because of who he was.
Oh yeah,
and he was
plays
just
a jerk.
Oh yeah, and he does an excellent job. And I don't know, that part whenever he comes in, like I hate to pretend it's all about him because it's not, but when he comes in, I really start connecting to these characters and I really start, understanding like what they're going through.
And I will say, like, it had a lot of, like I said, it was beautiful and sweeping, just beautifully directed. I just didn't connect. And I know it's kind of the point. I connected with the whole survival thing to a certain degree. The torpedo scene in the theater was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it destroys your eardrums. But the only thing I really loved was the Mark Rylance, Cillian Murphy, boat scene. Like, I feel like that was the only part that I was like, okay, like, your cool directing techniques really work for this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, I don't know, like, this is going to sound like a weird comparison. Have you guys ever seen Death Proof by Tarantino?
No.
I feel like I might have heard of it.
Well, I feel like this is Christopher Nolan's Death Proof in a way. It was just, Tarantino uses great filmmaking techniques in that movie. Like, the characters you can't really connect to, but it's great. He's like using this very simple story, but also it's like, I feel like your abilities could be used on something else. Like, I get it. He wants to have his great World War II movie. And it's the most British of, and there was something I wanted to bring up. All three of the movies we talked about today are from directors of different nationalities, like Australian, an American, and a person who's British. And I find it interesting, the British person, his movie's PG-13, which Christopher Nolan's is. But I would say out of the three, his was the most intense. I would say that Christopher Nolan knows how to build a scene, and literally the entire movie, it just feels like it's amping up the whole time.
The whole movie. That's probably, I think my favorite part about Dunkirk is the whole, it's really quiet. You don't know what's going on. And then, boom, something happens. I mean, I was watching it on my couch on my laptop, and whenever it was really quiet, I was just kind of chilling, and then it was like, oh, okay, we're in war. I forgot. Like, that's what it is. And he uses, doesn't he use the loud or the high-pitched noises? I think he uses like the high-pitched noises
that you
can't even hear, but like the fact that they're there, like, it kind of makes you, it gives you this eerie feel to the movie.
And one thing I love talking about sound, this movie has great sound design, and Hans Zimmer, who composed for it, is known for like the bwomp from Inception and all that.
Yeah.
But one thing I love is he composed the entire movie to Christopher Nolan's pocket watch.
Oh, wow.
So if you notice the whole movie, there's like tick, 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 tick,
Yes.
just going on in the background slowly. And it's just keeping amping up as it goes. I mean, I just thought all that was great. It's just one of those things where it's like, man, I don't know if that filmmaking technique needs to be in this movie,
Yeah.
Like a lot of the movie just felt like it was him going, hey, I'm Christopher Nolan. All right, listen, film nerds, you guys like this, right? And I'm like, yes, I like it. It's amazing. But it's like a movie of me eating my desserts the whole movie. And I don't know if that needs to work for a Dunkirk movie. Like, I felt like exhausted by the end just because it was just like, all right, man, I get it. you're the best director ever. And he probably is.
He is.
Yeah, he probably is, but it's like, I just felt, there were certain scenes where I was like, I don't need the whole magnum opus thing for this one.
I like the wide shots. I think were probably some of my favorite cinematic parts of the movie because it's just, I feel like the whole movie could have been in black and white because it was so intense. But the color scheme too, I love when directors use a color scheme, and it was like a blue color scheme, and I really liked that because it really put you in the setting of where these people are.
Oh yeah, it felt very British. Like when you think of like,
for sure.
I don't know, but I really like talking with you guys, and then next week I will have the high ground because we are discussing the Star Wars prequels.
Is that next week?